Hello everyone and welcome back to the Cup Council. How are we all? Hopefully all of you are having a fantastic day from wherever you are around the world. Hopefully all of you are all good and all well on this Friday evening anyway. And in tonight's show, guys, something a little bit different tonight. We're going to be talking about Roberto Firmino, or the big lads, Bobby Firmino, and should Liverpool be giving him a new contract this season? Of course, we'll be looking a little bit, diving into, of course, Bobby's stats, injury record and so on as well. And we'll be looking, on who could possibly replace Roberto Firmino as well if he was to leave the club next season on a free transfer as well. And where could Bobby potentially go as well? We'll be talking all about that in tonight's show anyway. But if you guys are new around here and viewing this for the first time, then please feel free to leave a like. It's very much appreciated if you could do so as well. And if anyone is, of course, new around here, like I did say, then please hit that subscribe button. Thank you for the support lately on the channel. I do very much appreciate each and every single one of you for the love and support over the last couple of weeks as well. And as well, there is a poll in the chat down below to let me know your guys' thoughts as well. Should Liverpool offer Bobby Firmino a brand new deal? There is a poll. I did look just a second ago, and I think it's 100% everybody's agreeing that Bobby Firmino should get a new a new contract at the club anyway. But we'll have a look and a bit more towards the end of the show as well of the poll, I should say anyway. But Doug is in as well. Hello, Doug. Hopefully you're enjoying your honeymoon. I've seen the photos earlier. It looks absolutely scorching, and it's absolutely scorching here in the UK at the minute as well. Bobby is one of my favourite players, so yes, he should, says Doug as well, and saying, good evening, Connor. You're sounding a lot better. I'm very much better now. Thank you, mate. Again, COVID was horrible, but finally it's done, it's dusted. And for me, I think, look, hopefully now, never ever again, fingers crossed. And that, but thank you, Doug. Yeah, I am feeling a lot better. Anyway, saying Chris, anyway, saying, evening, mate, I hope you're well after 5 shifts in a row. It's my day off tomorrow. Well, Chris, over the moon that tomorrow is your day off as well. Enjoy it as well. I think it's the Wimbledon's final tomorrow, or ladies' final tomorrow. Of course, what was this, Djokovic and Kyrgios as well this weekend as well. So good weekend of sport, as well as the women's Euros as well. And of course the Reds are of course back in action next week against Cristiano Ronaldo less United. So much to look forward to. I'm glad, Chris, you're having the day off tomorrow. Firmino, criminally underrated in my opinion. Any team in the world would have him in their team because of what he offers. He's the glue. I bloody love him. Yeah, he's amazing, isn't he? And we'll talk about it as well in a brief moment. Big up Connor. Hello, Niall. Hopefully on a fantastic day. Jordan's in as well, saying hi. Niall says, thoughts on the rumours that Bobby is being linked with Newcastle? Of course, it would make sense if the likes of Lucas Paqueta joined there as well, linking up with, of course, the other Brazilians there, Joe Linton, and of course Bruno Guimaraes as well. But for me, and we'll talk about it in a brief moment, but I think there is another club out there. I think if he was to leave Liverpool next season, on potentially, I could see him going somewhere else. Well, we'll talk about that in a brief moment. Anyway, Niall, but for me, no, I don't think he's going to Newcastle. Evening, all bean. The honey and lemon is working on it. To be fair, Gary, thank you very much for tuning in. I haven't drunk any of it. I was meant to get it, and I just never did. To be fair, just water worked pretty well. To be fair, ladies' final tomorrow, men's on Sunday final. I'd love Kyrgios to win, just to see the meltdown and carnage. Yeah, it would be funny, wouldn't it? Is Bobby good for this season contract or not? Yeah, he's all good. It's 12 months. Basis. He has 1 year left on his deal, but realistically, with the likes of of course, Joe Gomez getting a deal done yesterday, Diogo Jota in line, and Naby Keita in line, contracts are a thing at the minute for Liverpool at the brief moment, and that's why we're talking about it. To be fair, mate, you're doing the watch along for Liverpool on Tuesday? I don't think so, because I think the game is is it 2 o'clock in the morning? I think. If I'm wrong and it's in the afternoon, then yeah, we will be doing one. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so yes, we will be doing a watch along on Tuesday for the game. So yeah, 100%, we will be doing a watch along on Tuesday, Jordan. Absolutely. Let him run down his deal. Well, let him run his deal down. Says yeah, of course. Again, I think that's the thing. We'll talk about it in a minute, but again, I think that's the thing that Liverpool have agreed with as well. Now that Bobby not leaving, says Jordan, as well. But we'll talk then about what we know so far about it anyway. And of course, you know, like I did mention, the news about Bobby and the whole transfer situation. Of course, Liverpool are supposedly he's not for sale this summer or this summer's transfer window anyway. Liverpool are willing to let him run down his contract. I thought I'd make this video because we've had the news over the last couple of days. As you've seen yesterday with Joe Gomez, he did sign his deal, and with Diogo Jota and Naby Keita also being targeted for extensions this summer. No official news yet about Bobby Firmino, and nothing's been mentioned. The last thing we heard about was a couple of months ago about him, getting into his final year of his deal and potentially, running down the year and then going as a free next season. Now, for me, again, guys, and let me know your thoughts. For me personally, I don't want Bobby to do that. I'd love him to sign for another 2-3 years. Yes, he's 30, going on 31. I think at the end of October he will be 31 at the club. But for me, I just think Bobby is so criminally, like as Chris mentioned earlier, he is criminally underrated. And I think it also depends on how Liverpool line up for this coming season. Because if we go 4-3-3, of course, Bobby offers you that false nine position. That we all know he can play marvelously. But again, if Liverpool go towards that 4-2-3-1 and that number 10 position, Bobby offers you that something different. I think personally, he can play in the 9, can play as a 10, and I think as well Bobby can play as an 8 as well. Something that's not been experimented too much. Maybe we might see a bit of it in pre-season, over the next couple of weeks, but we haven't seen Bobby Firmino not playing as an attacker for Liverpool. If you get what I mean, he hasn't not played anywhere else apart from the 10 or as a false 9. And I think if we take a quick look at Bobby's stats for this season, the season just gone anyway, of course, 20 Premier League appearances, got 990 minutes in the league, scored 5 goals and got 4 assists, and got 5 goals in the Champions League, 2 of them coming against Benfica as well. But if you look at his stats, pretty much each and every single one very much high green territory, which you look at it in world football, that it's very, very rare that you've got pretty much everything is in top 90%, of course, just in shooting per 90, total shots per 90, 70, he's in the top 72%. But you look at non-penalty goals, he's in the top 91%. So that means, of course, he takes his opportunities, when it is. If we quickly scroll back up, you look at the XG levels. I know you have to take a pinch of salt with XG, but you look at it, 5.0 goals expected. He got the 5 goals. Of course, he got over in the Champions League. It was only expected to get 2.6 anyway. But you look at just defensive stats as well. Pressures, he's in the top 98%. In world football. Tackles, he's in the top 99% as a forward. Interceptions, top 89%. And then, of course, blocks as an attacker, top 97% of it as well. And I think for me, if Bobby offers you something that different that not any other striker can do in world football, and we all joke about it, we wind rival fans up, don't we, about a defensive striker, and you look at it, Bobby's not only the defensive striker, he does everything. He does everything, doesn't he? He defends, he attacks, he does link up play between midfield to the attack. And for me, what makes Bobby different as well? We all talk about, over the last couple of years, we've spoken about Salah and Mane being, the 2 world's best at what they do. Both of them would not be able to do it if it wasn't for Bobby Firmino. Simple as. He is that link-up play. And for me personally, um, again, we see it with the like of Darwin Núñez now, and for me, I think it'll be interesting this season. I think sometimes we might see Darwin Núñez play as a left-sided winger, and then Bobby as a middle in the middle, and kind of see more of a more of Mo and Darwin Núñez plays more inside forwards. We've seen it plenty of times, haven't we, with the likes of Mo and Sadio. But I think especially Darwin Núñez as well, that deadly striker as well. Bobby just coming in that 10 role, intertwining with that, the false nine, the 10 role like we talked about, and then just, Darwin Núñez and Mo Salah, as well with Diaz as well, can just go out and score plenty of goals. And that was how well Liverpool did, when we look back at, 17-18, for example, how well Liverpool did by playing that, Mane and Salah a bit more inside, and then Bobby playing as that 10, as the link up between the midfield and the forward line. And for me, I think, Bobby Firmino is the best at doing it. Plenty of teams have tried to do it. Man City of late tried to do it with Phil Foden and Kevin De Bruyne to play that false nine, but it was Jurgen Klopp and Bobby Firmino that started it. And I say this, obviously, of course, we've had people like Thomas Muller in the past as well. Another player I think in world football that's very much underrated is Thomas Muller. I think Bobby Firmino, there was a clip that I seen before coming on about Guy Neville going on about, every single team would want a Roberto Firmino in their side, and they would. You look at all the top level strikers, Bobby Firmino can do everything, and he's amazing at what he does. And let me know, guys, your thoughts as well in the chat about, of course, everything that we do talk about tonight as well. Bobby is bloody great. He is better than Kane. I think Liverpool will give him another deal. I hope so. I bloody hope so. Scouser says, I think Bobby needs to stay as there is too much change with Diaz still new, Núñez and Carvalho, Mane gone. We need some old heads in there. Exactly. I would agree, 1000%. Real eye-opener, that scouting report, not seen that at all. Well, to be fair, it is on RB Ref, or I think that's how you pronounce it, or RB Ref. Anyway, it is, you've got all the players in Europe as well, but that it does give you the top percentage. Like if we was to go on, for example, Cristiano Ronaldo's in the goal scoring area, he's like in the top 80%, and that if you look at the more defensive numbers, it's more 1, 2, 3%, which is quite funny to look at as well. But Markson as well saying can't see him going, and the team will link up through training and pre-season. Yeah, I would agree 100%. Mark, 100% agree with you on that as well. But one thing I will say, guys, and for me personally, I think is a little bit of a problem with Bobby Firmino at the moment. Not a huge problem, but just a slight problem. Now, we take a quick look at his injury history. Now, to be fair, Bobby Firmino, prior to this season just gone, was pretty good with injuries. Very rarely Bobby Firmino would get injured, and he'd be constantly available for Liverpool. But if we take a quick look at, as you can see, but the injury history for Bobby Firmino, and look at last season. Of course, you can see, but there, right at the start of the season, muscular injury, picked that up against Chelsea, if you guys remember. 24 games, 24 days missed, and then of course I think he came back straight away and missed 39 days then for Liverpool, missing 9 games. COVID, of course, he missed 1 game, I think that was the Chelsea game, and then muscular injury, then he missed 6 games, and foot injury as well kept him out for another 6 games for Liverpool, which if you add it up as a total, came to 26 games that he missed last season for Liverpool, which, if you work it out, Liverpool played 63 games last season. That's just over 40% of the games last year Bobby Firmino missed out through injury. Now, of course, this is the first season that he's picked up multiple injuries in the same year. And of course, that could come down to age. Bobby Firmino, he's 30 years of age, going on to 31. But when you look at the numbers, the games that he's played, you can quite clearly see he makes an impact for Liverpool. And for me, look, it's a similar conversation that we could have with Thiago. for example, Thiago when he's fit, is amazing for Liverpool. He is up there, isn't he? He's amazing. But it's how many times can you get it out of Thiago? Can you get it, 20, 30 times? Maybe, you definitely can't get 40 games. And I think that's the difference with, Bobby, and so on, as well. But if we could take a quick look back then at the stats sheet for you guys anyway, and this is just in the league. I will say that now it's not including Champions League or anything. But as you can see, on the list, you can see the amount of games he's played for Liverpool. Over the years, when we won the league in 1920, played in 38 games, started 34, and I got 9 goals, 8 assists. You'll then look at the season that, of course, we had all the injuries. Played in 36 games, started 33, got 9 goals, 7 assists, and then last season, then only getting 20 games. Getting 20 games, starting 10, getting 5 goals and 4 assists as well. But again, we all remember, that season, of course, 18-19, and of course, more importantly, 17-18, where, he played 37 games, got 32 starts, 15 goals and 7 assists, which realistically, put Bobby Firmino up there, didn't it? For as what was expected, of course, and as you can see, but and you can see, each and every single year, the XG levels go down quite significantly. As expected, he got 12 goals there, got 15, so he overachieved that season. Expected goals 13.3, he got 12, 13, 12, and then of course 5. So a big, step down in terms of expected goals last season. Of course, you have to take a pinch of salt when it comes to expected goals and expected assists, because if we lived off XG, Brighton a couple of years ago would have finished 3rd in the Premier League if we took it off XG. And you do have to be careful with things like that, because XG is a bit weird. But as you can see, the expectation from Bobby has gone down slightly with each and every single season. Now, of course, that does come into effect when you have the likes of Diogo Jota coming in, Sadio Mane taking over as the false 9 last season, or the striker role, because of Luis Diaz coming in. And I think for me, the one thing for Liverpool, and I think Chris has mentioned it there, I hope Bobby retires at Liverpool. The thing is, he has said in an interview, I think last year for the Champions League, he said that he wants to stay at Liverpool. He wants to remain Liverpool. And I think, again, it does depend on everything I say in this video could completely change in a month's time, because, we could start pre-season and we could see him more as an 8, could see him as a 10, depending, and then 100% Liverpool should 100% offer him a new deal. I think right now Liverpool should offer him a deal, but there is a bit of conservativeness about it, I would say, because I think you do have to look in certain areas as well. Can you replace Bobby Firmino? No, this is a similar story with Mohamed Salah. Could you replace Mohamed Salah? Easy answer was no. Can you replace Roberto Firmino? It's another question. For me, it's a no. But again, I think Klopp has tried to replace him with the likes of Nunes and Jota by going in another direction to what Liverpool already have, personally, anyway, from what I see on that. Anyway, but keep your comments coming in, guys, and let me know your thoughts as well. I can't see him going anywhere. I already read that without apologies. Mark missed a few games and he's been off the boil for a while, says Mark. Yeah, again, like he missed over 40% of the games last season, which, isn't good when you look at it, of course, especially when we're trying to offer him a new deal as well. Anyway, do you feel he will be offloaded next season? Personally, no. I think that Liverpool should offer him at least a 2-year deal. But again, it does depend on, again, what Liverpool are after of Bobby Firmino. Are we looking to keep him around as an option forward, or do we think that the 4-2-3-1 is possible? And we will look at a replacement for Bobby, because I do think there is one player in particular that could potentially replace Roberto Firmino next season. Anyway, but I'll keep that for a little bit longer. Anyway, but yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts on that as well. Do you think that he could be afforded to let go next season? We need to rebuild the midfield next year. Well, again, Jude Bellingham is the main priority, isn't he? And Manuel says Bobby stays, new contract, with the hands emoji as well. Hopefully, mate. Hopefully he does stay next year. But we'll take a look then at wages, and this is one of the things that could be a problem for Liverpool. As you can see, this is currently the list that I've been able to find of the top earners of Liverpool at the present moment in time. As you can see at the top, Mohamed Salah with his new deal at £350,000 per week. Of course, next to him then is Virgil van Dijk with £220,000 per week. But again, if you go down the list, Bobby is the fifth highest earner at Liverpool at the present moment in time. Now, for me, guys, excuse me, for me personally, I think that Bobby would take a pay cut personally to stay at Liverpool. £180,000 per week. I cannot see him, trying to get a deal worth higher than that, and I don't see Liverpool offering that. Now, of course, he could just turn around and go, "Oh well, Mo's, being offered this. Why aren't I being offered this?" That could potentially happen, but I think Bobby Firmino realizes that, realistically, Bobby is going to be, if Nunes is, good and Jota stays fit, Bobby is practically third or fourth choice, striker at the minute, or, attacking option at the present moment in time. And you look at the players around him, Fabinho, Ali, Jordan Henderson, Naby as well, potentially going to be getting a new deal as well. And of course, Diogo Jota, that, Liverpool are trying to offer a new deal, as you can see down the bottom, on £90,000 per week, which again, for me, is ridiculous money, isn't it? For Jota to be on as well. But for me personally, I think that I do think Bobby will get a reduced salary. To be fair, and for me, Bobby, I think he just simply deserves a new contract, doesn't he? Because whenever he has played, he's been so important for Liverpool. Like the Champions League final, I think we could all say, get Bobby on the pitch. I think that was what everyone was saying for the Champions League final against Madrid. And to be fair, Bobby tried to offer something, but again, it was too late in the Champions League final. But again, he's so important for Liverpool in certain moments and certain away games as well. I always get people saying that, Bobby doesn't score at Anfield and so on. That's true. Bobby's record at Anfield isn't the best, but away from, Anfield, I think the last, was it 17, 18 goals? I think the majority of them for Liverpool have been away from home for Liverpool, which is unbelievable. And again, he is the big game player. If you want a goal in big games away from home, Bobby Firmino is your man. Realistically as well. But let me know your thoughts, guys, in the chat as well. But Bobby being 180k a week anyway. Oh wow, says Mark as well. Doug says Bobby is not moaned once, not moaned at all. He loves Liverpool, and I think he stays for the rest of his career, says Doug. And then C Senor, of course. Anyway, but we'll get on then, of course, to who could possibly replace Roberto Firmino now at Liverpool. Now, for me, guys, it is as simple as there is one person on my list anyway that I think who could replace Roberto Firmino. Now, I'm not saying this guy, is 100% the guy to go and get personally. And let me know, guys, your thoughts on this as well in the chat down below. But for me, guys, the number one guy that Liverpool should be looking at to replace Roberto Firmino if he was to leave anyway would be Christopher Nkunku. Now, for me, guys, Christopher Nkunku, if you look at his numbers and so on, is exactly what Liverpool would want, especially if we moved more as a 4-2-3-1. Now, of course, the conversation was talked about this season. If Liverpool couldn't get Darwin Núñez, Christopher Nkunku was on the shortlist for Liverpool in the transfer window. Of course, plenty of other teams have been interested in him as of late. Of course, Manchester United, Chelsea, Bayern Munich as well, I think, were also interested in signing him before. Of course, he did sign a brand new deal. Of course, Fabrizio Romano reporting, earlier on in the summer, saying that, of course, he signed a new deal till June 2026, but there is a release clause included in the new deal for 60 million euros, which will be activated next summer as well. And of course, I think that's the lowest estimate that it could be, which is around 50 million pounds if, of course, Leipzig were to win. I think the Bundesliga and so on. I think it gets taken up to around 70 million euros as things stand. But of course, I could be wrong with that. But looking at details on that, it did say that there would be increases if they were to go on and win, titles and so on. So again, 60 million euros, 50 million euros for Christopher Nkunku. What is he, around 24, 25 at the present moment in time? If we take a quick look, anyway, he is 24 at the minute. And we'll take a quick look then at, of course, his stats over on the website. Of course, last season, of course, 24 years of age. Of course, last season, played 34 games in the Bundesliga, getting 20 goals and getting 13 assists last season, which was ridiculous from Christopher Nkunku. Of course, on XG, he did overperform. He was expected to get around 14 goals or 15 goals in the season. He overperformed in that. And of course, as well, on expected assists as well, he did slightly overperform on that as well. But then, of course, in the Champions League as well, 7 goals, 1 assist, and in the Europa League for Leipzig last season as well, 6 games, 4 goals as well, which is amazing. Realistically, if we take a scroll down, we take a look at the numbers again. Attacking wise, in Nkunku, he's in the top. In the top 90%. Again, non-penalty goals, he's in the top 99%. XG, as you can see, non-penalty goals expected, he's in the top 96%. Total shots, he's in the top 81%. All the attacking position, all the attackings as well. Passing as well, touches in the attacking position, he's in the top 93%. Progressive passes, he's in the top 99%. And of course, interceptions and so on, it's not so high as Bobby, but you look at the 2 areas where Bobby was in the red area, clearances and aerial duels 1 as well. He is in the green bracket as well. But if you take a quick look on the right hand side, the top player that he is most like is Mohamed Salah, which of course is very, very interesting. And of course, there is plenty of other Liverpool names there. Of course, Luis Diaz, and of course Sadio Mane as well. Former Liverpool player as well. But let me know your guys' thoughts anyway on Christopher Nkunku potentially being the replacement for Bobby Firmino. For me, if you were to say potentially, I would like Christopher Nkunku at Liverpool, but for 60 million euros, 50 million pounds, again, especially if Liverpool are going 100% into Jude Bellingham next season, which that's looking like it's going to cost you around 100 million pounds at the moment. For me personally, I'd much prefer to offer Bobby a new deal. Now, if you work at it, if Bobby was to take 150k a week, I think if you work it out over 2 years, I think that's around 20 million pounds over 2 years. Could you afford to give Bobby that? While getting the midfield problem sorted first? Absolutely, in my opinion. Of course, Liverpool next season for me, I think we'll need 1 or 2 midfielders, and again, I think we need to put our full focus into that now. Midfielders is the key for next season onwards. And if you were to offer Bobby a new deal, personally, I think that's the way to go. If you were to ask me right now, would I like Nkunku at Liverpool? Absolutely. I would absolutely love him at Liverpool. I think he would be a really, really interesting player under Jurgen Klopp. Could play everywhere. Up top, play, on the left side, the right side, a false 9, a 10, and could probably play as an 8 as well, potentially. But again, for me personally, I think if you were to say to me, would you rather sign Christopher Nkunku or get Bobby Firmino a new deal? Personally, I'd say give Bobby a new deal because you work on the midfield positions first over it anyway. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Anyway, in the chat, Nkunku says Tug. Thought so. Haha. Yeah, Christopher Nkunku for me, guys, would be the best Bobby replacement. And if we quickly, let me quickly go back on the football stats. But if you quickly look as well to the players that are being compared with Bobby Firmino, Christopher Nkunku's name is number 1 on that list, and Diogo Jota is number 2 on that list as well. So, you know, if he was to go, then of course, you know, Liverpool have done their homework, but, you know, Diogo Jota number 2 to similar players to Roberto Firmino, and then Christopher Nkunku as number 1 anyway. But for me, guys, personally, let me see the chat as well down below. Let me quickly check on the poll. But as it stands, 87% of you say that Roberto Firmino should get a new deal at Liverpool. For me, I would agree. I think 100% Liverpool should be offering Bobby a new deal, whether that be 1 year or 2 year. You know, who knows? But for me as well, you know, where could Bobby go after his deal is done? For me, I think Juventus could be a potential option for him. Of course, Juventus love. Of course, they love a free transfer. Of course, they've just got Angel Di Maria for a free. They've got Paul Pogba for a free as well. But as well, Barcelona as well. I've always thought that Bobby going to Barcelona was a no-brainer. Personally, I always thought that was a no-brainer. But again, you know, it could go to Atletico Madrid. Could see him, you know, plenty of places. Can't see him going to a PSG or someone like that. I know, because I think that got rumored as well last week. But for me, it would either be Barcelona or Juventus. I could easily see Bobby Firmino going to more so Barcelona than Juventus if he was to leave Liverpool. But for me, guys, I think Roberto Firmino will sign a new deal at Liverpool eventually. Anyway, personally. But let me know, guys, your thoughts before we do head off anyway, because it's only a short video today. Of course, tomorrow we was meant to be doing a Fantasy Premier League show. It was on Jack's channel earlier talking about that, so I'm going to leave that tomorrow. So we might be back on Sunday as well. Hopefully we'll see a couple of the new lads anyway tomorrow, hopefully. Darwin Núñez, obviously Virgil back as well, and so on anyway. But yeah, of course, you know, let me know your guys' thoughts on anything that we've mentioned about tonight before we do head off for tonight. Anyway, now the other question, should Naby lad get a new deal or not, says Doug. That's a stupid question. Absolutely. Naby Keita should be getting a new deal. You'd be stupid not to offer him a new deal, personally. Again, it would cost a lot more money to replace Naby than it would to give him a new deal. And I think Naby, personally, I think he's done everything he could do to get a new deal. Obviously, we spoke about it last year, probably this time last year, about him and Ox. You know, it's probably last season was the season to prove, you know, that, you know, do you deserve to be in this Liverpool squad? And I think, you know, Naby proved that. Ox for me didn't. Of course, I think Ox will stay around now for the season, but I think Naby will 100% get the deal done and sign on the dotted line. He will be the next one, I think. And then I think Diogo Jota will be next in line then for a new deal, personally, anyway. But yeah, hopefully we'll bring that news to you anyway in the next couple of weeks. Fingers crossed anyway. But guys, we are going to leave it there for tonight anyway. Thank you very much for each and every single one of you that has tuned in to tonight's show. Of course, we've spoken about Bobby Firmino. You know, should Liverpool offer him a new deal? Short answer is yes, 100%. Liverpool should offer him a new deal. But of course, there is the concern about injury problems and so on. And of course, wages as well. Will he be asking for more? Will he be asking for less? But I think the positive thing is he has said he wants to stay at Liverpool for the rest of his career. And plus as well, it does depend, I think, on whether or not Liverpool move to a 4-2-3-1 or stick with the 4-3-3. I think if we stay with the 4-3-3, of course, he will be used this season, no matter what. But again, if we play a 4-2-3-1, I think we'll see a lot of, you know, Bobby in that 10 role, especially anyway. But guys, let me know your thoughts on everything that we have spoken about in tonight's show as well. Let me know, you know, would you keep Bobby around? Of course, there was a poll in the chat, and I think 87% of you would keep Bobby around and give him a new contract anyway. But guys, please stay safe, please stay well. Anyway, we'll be back maybe tomorrow, maybe Sunday. I haven't decided yet. Probably Sunday. We might have a day off tomorrow. Anyway, if there is any other breaking news, of course, we'll bring it to you first of all. Anyway, but guys, like I do say, please stay safe, please stay well. If you're new around here as well, then please hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to enable notifications as well, and all that good stuff. Anyway, but have a good rest of your Friday, and have a good start to the weekend as well, guys. Of course, the Reds are back in action next week as well, so we're looking very much excited for that. Anyway, but guys, please stay safe, please stay well. I've been Connor from the Cup Council. We'll see you all next time. So